What's up? This is ESTA, and you're now listening to Culture Study.
Hey everybody, my name is Umar and welcome to Culture Study. I hope everyone tuning in is ready for a wonderful guest because I'm joined today by the one and only Francis Esteban, or ESTA. ESTA is a producer and beat maker from Southern California who began his musical journey in 2006. Since then, he's gained a massive following as millions of fans, including myself, have tuned in to hear his unforgettable R&B sounds. ESTA reflects on some really big moments in his career, from gracing the stages at Coachella, to finishing his most recent EP in collaboration with Mack Keane, to even sharing some of his proudest moments, like performing in his motherland, the Philippines, and having a studio session with the likes of Kendrick Lamar and Ginuwine. We also delve into ESTA's creative process as a music producer, touching on topics like the art of collaboration, how to avoid overthinking, and how he keeps his work as human as possible. ESTA really is the definition of let the work do the talking. He self-identifies as an introvert and a homebody, generally prefers not to be in the spotlight, and barely even sits down for interviews at all. ESTA said that about every 5 years he'll be open to an interview, so I feel very grateful that he joined us on Culture Study for this 5-year check-in. I had so much fun with this conversation. I hope you all enjoy it, and I ask that you share it with one other person who would enjoy it as well. Follow us on Instagram and tag us when you listen. Our handle is @CultureStudy. You can also watch us on YouTube and Spotify. Just search Culture Study Podcast. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Peace. All right, so let's start off with this. We'll kick off here, but for those who haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, how would you describe yourself?
I'm an observer, pretty reserved, It depends where you meet me, I guess. Like studio, I might be playful. Basketball court, I'm probably talking a lot. Some event, I'm probably quiet. I'm pretty selective, I guess.
That's great. I definitely see observer. Probably every
Yeah.
time I've seen you, you're kind of just soaking in wherever you are.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I don't like going out, but if I do, like, I can, like, get something out of it in a way.
Yeah.
For, like, creative reasons,
So is that like observing a crowd? Like,
yeah, just
kind of what other artists are doing or DJs or...
No, just life. Random interactions between people. Or just people living their life,
Yeah.
Just minding their own business.
How are you really doing? Like, what have you been feeling recently?
It's been up and down, actually, because I'm starting my first album right now. And it's interesting to me because I'm not used to doing stuff for myself. It's so broad now for me to just create whatever I want and try and make it happen. It's just a lot of narrowing down my ideas and focusing on one at a time and trying to make it happen.
Yeah. You kind of just mentioned it, but maybe you can go into more detail. Like, how do you approach putting together a body of work like an album?
This is my first one for myself, so I feel like it's a little different. For other people, it helps having another perspective because we just bounce ideas off of each other, but now it's just me. I mean, I have like my team and stuff, but creatively, I feel like I have to hone in with myself. That's difficult because I feel different every day, That idea might not be the same tomorrow. So I have to just like lock in, but I think it'll be good when it's all done though.
Yeah. I'm sure it will. You've been in the game for a while. I'm actually surprised that this is your first like album for yourself, really,
Yeah, I tried starting a few times, but the timing wasn't right. The timing definitely feels right now, and I have a few songs done already, so it helps me like stay motivated to just go through with it.
I know you just recently said it, that you were putting out kind of a call to collaborate with friends on the project, right?
Yeah.
How do you choose, who to work with?
I'm down to work with anybody. Like, if I finish it, then that's where I'll see if it makes it or doesn't make it, and if it's cohesive with the rest. But yeah, I just want to work with my friends, man. I feel like I've developed a cool network of people now, and they know how I work as well, so that helps a lot. And there's a lot of forced collaborations, so I'm just trying to avoid that and make my first album at least be with people I care about and know, and they know me as well.
All right, so if you need a rapper, I'm right here, dog.
Oh, yeah, bars, man. We're gonna use the mics.
Yeah, we're gonna use these mics. David's gonna help us out. No, I'm just playing. I actually do have a follow up about. I want to talk a little bit more about just this process of working on your album. How do you know when a track is finished?
Like, if it feels good, then I'm good with that. I'm not gonna overthink it, and it could even be a demo sometimes. And if that feeling is there, then I'll run with it. Like, I try and preserve the feeling as much as possible. That's huge for me.
What's the feeling that you're like referring to?
If like the topic and the emotion aligns, I feel like that's the sweet spot. Yeah, man, you gotta keep it as human as possible in this AI world now.
You gonna have AI on the
AI
album?
type beat. Actually, we had it on Intersections.
No way.
Yeah, it's mastered all AI.
No way.
Yeah.
So
Crazy.
what did you do?
Just upload the mix and then AI takes it from there.
No way.
Yeah, kind of crazy. It sounds good though.
It sounds great.
Yeah.
So it just so you're kind of using AI in a way that kind of just makes your life easier as an artist.
Yeah, it's like instant. You get it back in 2 minutes or something, and you can revise it after that still.
I'm about to put an AI version of myself just to sit in this chair and start doing interviews, just
Yeah,
whip them out.
Yeah.
Super efficient.
Yeah, 7 episodes a day.
Yeah, exactly. That's so funny, man. Okay, so let's talk about this right now. Do you call yourself a producer?
I say, yeah, I'll say music producer, yeah.
Producer.
Yeah. Sometimes if I don't want to talk to people, I'll just say DJ, just to get it out the way.
Why does that deter people from talking to you?
Like, they'll be like, oh, who do you produce for?
Okay.
I don't want to talk like name drop or whatever.
Yeah.
Everyone's a DJ, so they don't got no more questions after that.
How do you feel about that? Everyone being a DJ?
It definitely affected me, just because like it doesn't feel as special anymore. It's not as appreciated, I feel like.
The craft itself.
Yeah. There's a lot of shortcuts, and I mean, I'm not the most technical either, but I respect the craft a lot, which is why I don't do it as much.
Did it also, I feel like at some point it must have been like a good portion of like your money as well, your income, right?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
DJing. So did that also take a hit in a sense when it came to like just this?
Definitely, but I mean, it was around COVID time, so I couldn't DJ anyway.
Oh, yeah.
When that got taken from me, I was like, oh, I was scared, man. I was like, how am I gonna make money? It was like that, and then when the NBA was like cut, I was like, damn, this is real. Seriously.
when the pre-bubble.
Yeah, pre-bubble. I was like, damn.
Those are the two
now.
big moments in your life where you were like, oh, man.
Like, no basketball, I can't go nowhere.
That's funny, man. You also play a ton of instruments, right?
I dabble. I don't know how to play for real, but I can get an idea out, and then I'll call like a friend who actually plays an instrument to do it properly.
Yeah. Let's talk about Intersections, the EP. We just have passed a year, right? The 1 year anniversary of it. So it was you and Mack Keane, kind of a collaborative EP. A couple reviews I saw online, some of the comments and some of the reviews. Absolute perfect body of work.
Damn.
One of the best R&B albums I've heard in a long time.
It's amazing.
What are your reflections on it? How do you feel about it, 1 year post?
Shoot, I'm grateful. Mainly towards Mac, because I always felt like I could do a great body of work, but I don't think an artist has trusted me as much as Mac has for not only like the audio, like the music part, but like all around creative stuff. I feel like we were still playing it safe at the same time, because that's like an introduction towards both of us.
Interesting.
So the album, when we get around to it, I think it's going to be sick.
Yeah. I know I was doing a little digging, and you met Mac in March of 2020, so that's COVID hit, right?
Yeah, right before. Yeah, we linked up. I played a few beats. He liked a bunch, and we tried to start cutting ideas, but none of the gear was working.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, I don't know, just he couldn't record anything. There was always some technical thing going on. So I just let him like take the beats home, and everything was solid. Super was one of the first ones. Thought of You, I think, also. And then
But and
COVID happened, and we just worked throughout COVID. And he has a studio, so that helped a lot. Yeah, it just worked out perfectly.
he described you as musical kindred brothers. Both of you guys are going through similar things creatively, felt stuck um, in maybe like a specific version of yourselves. What what were you experiencing?
He's incredible, but me, I'm like always questioning because I don't know how to play for. I can't read music. I can't compose music like a lot of other people. But so I question that part of me a lot. But I also think it's a strength in a sense. But we're both like not the most confident people, you know. But like working together, we kind of like gave that to each other. It's still a constant battle, of course, you know, like being creative or whatever. But we definitely gained the confidence from intersections. And I was just trying to maintain it and do it even bigger.
Yeah. How do you feel like you gave that confidence to each other creatively?
Sometimes when I pitch an idea to like other artists, it's like they're not really feeling it, and you kind of question yourself after that, you know. But he'll take an idea that I thought was wild and then kill it, and then that makes me feel like, oh yeah, I was right the whole time, you know.
Mm. All right. So with collaboration, feedback is obviously important.
Yeah,
So how do you give feedback to someone like Mac
give
or someone
feedback.
in general that you're collaborating with?
Mac's a completely different story. That's like family now. So I was I actually talk a lot to him because he's so good. Everyone is gonna tell him like, "Oh, this is crazy. This is crazy." I have to be that one guy to just be an asshole and tell him straight up because he's so incredible musically. He can keep stacking harmonies over harmonies. I'm like, you don't gotta do all that. You don't gotta flex all the time. You know, you can just keep it simple. It's more human, I feel like. But yeah, it's like no real problems. He's capable of doing so much.
Separate from Mac, how do you feel like you can give feedback to another artist that you're collaborating with?
Again, like working with Mac, it gave me the confidence to speak up a little more, and yeah, I'm cool with like giving feedback and taking feedback as well. It depends on the artist too, though, because like you can see sometimes in the studio they'll get in their heads a lot, and you don't want to like disrupt their thought process and creative flow. So you just have to be observant and see how they're feeling at the time, but still get the message across somehow.
Yeah. What are some of your favorites off the album? Did you have a specific favorite that I'll tell you mine.
Yeah.
Thought of You
Okay.
was definitely one of them, and then I think the first track is Without You,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. That one I feel like is slept on. I like that one too,
Yeah.
without you. But I love Never Enough, I think.
Never Enough.
Yeah, yeah, the acoustic song. Yeah, because of how it started, but I also like making ambient music for fun, and I got to incorporate it in that song a little bit. Um, and I always wanted to make an acoustic song. I love listening to them, so it was
Yeah.
nice having my own. But yeah, Thought of You's cool too, because we got to work with the team on that. Joyce.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our team. I was with them last night, working on a song for my album.
Amazing.
That's gonna be sick.
Do you have a set number from that album, like
How many
tracks
songs?
and how you're kind of piecing that together creatively? I know you said this is your first time doing it.
Yeah, definitely like 8 to 14.
Hmm.
Depends how many songs I can actually finish and get back from artists. That's probably the hardest part, like catching them when they're not traveling and not tired from traveling. So,
When they're
well,
in the space to kind of
yeah,
create,
yeah.
right?
And if they do create, can I get them back to finish it? You know, it's like a lot of little things that I'm trying to work with.
All right, so let's pivot. What's a typical day look like for you now? You have
Yeah,
any sort of routine?
yeah. Routines are huge for me now. Getting older, man. Just trying to stay grounded with all the craziness and music. So yeah, I'll wake up around like 8:30, no matter how late or early I sleep. Take my dog out.
Cosmo.
Yeah, Cosmo, take him out, let him run around.
It's the cutest little corgi, man.
Yeah, that's my dog, literally. And then I get coffee, depending on what I'm doing, like work-wise. If I have time, I'll cook and stretch, like if I could get the time in. And after that, work, creative stuff.
And then you've also got Clink,
Yeah.
International Natural Wine Club.
Yeah.
What's the story with that?
During lockdown, we were all like getting into the natural wine pretty heavily. And then, the Zoom parties we all used to do. We'll all just like review wines and like get this one next week, get this one. And then we got the opportunity from Mike to do something at Love Hour.
Hmm.
We didn't know what to do, and then we were like, let's just do a wine party. I could DJ and yeah, do everything in house. Like, there's four of us in there, and everyone can contribute something important. So it just worked out perfectly. We've been throwing a little over a year now. It gets more popping every time. It's fun.
It kind of just started as a fun creative outlet, really.
Yeah,
Is that
just
still kind of the goal, or where do you feel like you're taking that?
around the world. I want to bring it around the world, man. Like the wine's just like a thing to enjoy, but the music is what I'm like pretty proud of. I just curate it and put on all my friends.
Yeah. Um, One more thing I think maybe kicked off during the COVID years was restoring your Mercedes
Oh, that
ish.
was like a year ago.
A year
Yeah.
ago?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so end of the pandemic, quote
Yeah.
unquote.
I wish I started the pandemic using all that free money that was out here. I could have built it off that.
So tell me about it. It's a 1993 500 SL AMG.
Yeah,
Yeah.
AMG Kid.
So what kind of got you started?
That's my me time, man. Like it's fun to me. And I grew up going to car meets with my dad, and I never thought I'd get the bug this bad, but definitely did. It's cool. It brought me even closer to my dad.
I
Or
love
like
that.
really close, but now like text about car parts or certain cars. It's funny.
Does he have does he work
He
on cars
usually
as well?
does. Right now he has a Tesla though.
Hey.
But he's like he got a motorcycle also. He's fixing that up. But he did lower than put rims on the Tesla like he usually would.
I gotta call
Yeah, yeah, he's
him.
yeah, he's a real car guy. I've witnessed some crazy stuff. Like he changed the whole transmission himself on our old Eclipse that I loved. I think that's the car that made me fall in love with fixing up stuff.
Let's rewind a little bit. You just mentioned your dad, but what was your kind of upbringing like, your childhood, and maybe a little bit about your heritage, your identity, family.
I want to say we're like a typical Filipino family because my parents came here at a young age. They're like pretty young still, like young spirited especially. I was born in Glendale, but they lived in Pasadena. I don't really remember that much because I was so tiny. And then we moved to Highland Park, and that's where I went to elementary school. And then after that, I moved to the Bay for a little bit. It just opened my eyes to like so many other ethnicities and their cultures and their food. So I think maybe that's why now like I could eat whatever. I love trying the food. After the Bay, I moved to Baldwin Park with my grandma for a summer, and then I went to high school in Temecula,
Okay.
and that was weird because it's majority white people. Yeah, I always just felt odd there, and I wasn't into making music yet, but I was like, of course, into like underground hip hop especially. So I didn't really have like a group of friends till like end of sophomore year. So I had 2 years where I was just like a loner.
Mm,
But then when I found my group of friends, they were like my best friends still to this day. And one of them introduced me to like making music. He sat
really?
behind me in health and introduced me to Fruity Loops. I went over to his crib and I got addicted, man. I downloaded it on LimeWire.
Yeah, that's taking me back.
Yeah, yeah. And it
Fruity
was,
Loops is the music production
yeah,
kind of
uh-huh.
software, right?
Yep, yep.
How old were you there?
I was 13 when I started dabbling. And then 15, 16 is when I like started taking it more serious.
Is there any specific or multiple like memories that kind of stand out from your childhood that really shaped you?
I remember in elementary school, like I had a homie that you see all your friends every day at school. And one day he was just gone. He like drowned at the community pool. And then after that, I'm like, damn, you see these people every day, then they can just be gone like that. You just never know, you know?
Yeah, that must have been like your first introduction to like the idea of mortality, like
Yeah,
that it exists. Like not everyone's here
yeah. And then I
forever.
had another best friend. His dad's like a crip. like um like I used to walk to his house and like all these shaved head guys and wearing blue in front of the crib, just letting me walk in. I had no idea. I thought they were just like his dad's friends. And then
You're walking
yeah,
into a
one day
crip
he was
household.
gone.
Wow.
Not for the same reasons as the other homie, but went to juvie, I'm assuming. Yeah, he was a bad kid. Like he saw one kid like push me against the what is it, the
Yeah,
wall
yeah, yeah.
thing? Bro, I was tiny, so I got bullied a lot. And then he like took that kid to the bathroom and dumped his head in the toilet.
No way.
like
You gave him a swirly?
yeah, yeah.
That's wild.
So yeah, it was
He had a
down.
bodyguard.
Yeah, I did. Shout out Tino, man. I named my first pet after Tino. A little parakeet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Um, yeah.
That's pretty,
Crazy.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
How do you feel like those experiences kind of shaped you in your, like as you grew older?
Well, the first homie was like, it's just weird not because you're at school 5 days a week, and then all of a sudden you're just not there anymore.
Yeah.
It's just always been a thought in my mind now, like I might not see someone tomorrow, and that, as we're getting older, it's like happening. Even like my heroes, Kobe and Dillard, just gone. It still trips me out. You gotta enjoy what you have still.
What were some of your earliest influences? Like who were you? You said underground hip hop. Who were you kind of listening to and what were you watching? I know basketball was obviously a part of that
Yeah,
from
yeah. Basketball's been with
a
me
sport,
forever.
yeah, sports perspective. What about music?
My parents are very. My mom's a huge hip hop R&B lover. My dad was very broad. His iPod would have like 50 Cent's album, and then Kelly Clarkson's album, or Christina Aguilera, like a
Yeah,
bunch of random stuff.
no skips.
Yeah. um, and I think that, made me open to a lot of things. But as far as like my influences in high school, like the hip hop time, I loved my favorite song in high school was Reality Check by Binary Star.
Mm.
All my influences at the time were like real big samplers. Ninth Wonder, Just Blaze, Kanye. Kanye, I was listening to him this past week, like his older beats. He's a monster on the production. His ear for samples is just, it's up there. Uh, I was huge into Dilated Peoples. I think that trained my ear for like sample chopping and a lot of that. But then it got to a time when I was creating a lot where, you can't sample for free, so I had to learn how to compose. And then Ryan Leslie was a big part of my musical journey because he wasn't sampling. Um, kind of influenced me to like pick up the keys and do my own.
What made you kind of push towards transitioning to being a musician full time? Like when did that happen and kind of how did that happen?
Um, what job was I working? Oh yeah, I was working at a little sticker kiosk at the mall, like the custom car stickers. This was right out of high school, so I didn't go to college. my parents were like questioning what I was doing. So they were like, you either got to get a job, or go to college. And I was like, man, I'm out of here, or move out.
Mhm.
So I moved out to San Diego, and then it just forced me to like go 100 on music. I even like treated it like a 9 to 5 for a little bit. I wasn't making bread like that, so I got a job at J Crew, and then I started releasing music with Soulection, and started getting a little traction with them. And they brought me in to do a few gigs early on, and then they gave me an offer to play Coachella.
Wow.
It was like early, like the first set of the day, like 11 a.m. or something. So there was no one there, but you're on the bill, you know.
Yeah, it's Coachella. Wasn't
Um,
a Selection at that point was the first collective ever to be brought on.
oh, I didn't
I
know
think
that.
I think that Selection
Yeah,
it
well,
must have been that
like
year.
2014 or something like that.
Yeah, the first collective. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty dope. Carmack was there. He didn't know how to DJ at the time. He was playing beats off his laptop, like
Wow.
iTunes. I I barely knew how to DJ. Um,
That's so interesting too because I know it's always been a journey and just thinking about Andre and Joe and just obviously the growth of the entire collective,
mhm.
but it's always looked pretty buttoned up. Even though on the back end, I know there's, like you just mentioned, like you're still
Yeah,
early, like in your career and figuring it
yeah,
out, but
man.
on the front end, looks pretty solid.
Yeah, we were all young, man. Like any good opportunity, we're just gonna jump on it. Like we didn't have a place to stay. We camped. I think that's why early on we all gravitated towards each other because we all were very like-minded, had the same goal in mind, and loved the same music. Yeah, we're still all pretty close, man. Like everyone's killing it on their own. Dre got a crazy party now, link up, traveling, doing 4-hour sets. Like it's insane. We're all getting older, but like the love for the music's never changed. It's dope.
Yeah. Well, and then you see like the next generation kind of start to
Yeah, that's
rise.
crazy.
I
That's
think of
crazy.
Alea,
Oh yeah,
super talented,
Monster. Yeah, all the young homies are just like us when we were their age, you know?
hungry.
Hungry, super passionate, creative as well. And I respect them for like making their ideas happen. Like no help or anything, just doing it for themselves. I admire that a lot.
Speaking of which, I'm thinking about like the SoundCloud era.
Hmm.
I mean, the whole Selection crew really in many ways was kind of popping off.
Yeah.
But you in particular were really like your music was
I
hitting.
think I just caught the wave at the right time. Because before I was on Soulection, I think I had a bigger following than Soulection on SoundCloud, but only
Really.
because I was uploading like beat making videos on YouTube.
This is like 20 when?
Nine,
2009.
2009 to 2010, yeah, around then. And I
Like
was
people
huge.
barely knew YouTube was like
Yeah, yeah, you had like what was it, two, like 2 minute limit or something like that. You could only upload that long. But and then I was on Tumblr a lot too. But you couldn't upload more than one track a day on Tumblr. So I would use SoundCloud just to get the link and upload it to Tumblr.
uh
But then it got traction on SoundCloud, so I had an early following before it was like starting to pop off.
you had some of your like remixes and some of your original production. I was listening to them yesterday. So
Yeah,
dope.
thank you,
Can't
man.
wait the
Oh, Spazzy
Xavier
Rock.
Omar,
Yeah,
the Tinashe remix,
yeah.
Bryson Tiller. You did some really, really amazing.
I don't want to say amazing. Thank you, man. But
Yeah,
listening back, I'm like, damn, it's not good, but it was clever, I guess, at the time.
yeah. And catchy.
Yeah, yeah, it worked, but I don't think it was musically great. I also didn't know a lot about music at the time,
Yeah.
like composing and stuff.
So what have you kind of like when you think about your sound then to thinking about your sound now? Like
It's
what?
funny, man. I was just thinking about that because back then I had like really cool ideas, but didn't know how to execute it. Now it's like reversed. I'll have ideas every now and then, although I know how to execute them to a T now. So that's why I try to remain as young and youthful as possible, because you got to retain that like wild and free mind state to get these random ideas.
Did you ever have an idea or something you created that on one end you were like, oh, this is it? And then on the other end you put it out and you were like, man, I don't think people get it.
I feel like that happens a lot for me.
Yeah.
Maybe I just didn't approach it properly or fully. I don't know anything in particular. But there's a lot on intersections that I felt like were right, and I was, yeah, correct about it. I knew Thought of You was gonna work. OML I knew was gonna work. And Super.
Yeah.
They're just,
All great tracks. Super is amazing, which is the first track.
yeah, the oldest song we have was
Yeah,
that.
but you
Yeah.
finally put it out.
Yeah. It's just easy to digest, I think. And Mac like nailed the approach, his approach on the song as well. It's hard to gauge like when you're creating something and versus putting it out, because the timing difference is huge. It could be like a whole year or three, like Super was.
Yeah. What would you say to like artists or creatives who are maybe listening to this and feel a bit stuck?
Man, how I combat like feeling stuck now is just dropping music. Not like giving it up, but like just go outside and live life, I guess, because that's the only way. I used to have a bad habit of forcing my ideas, and it would backfire. Like just go a downward spiral of like questioning my abilities and all that. So just put it on pause for a few weeks, even. Just go outside and have a conversation with a random person or old friend, anything, just away from the studio. Before you know it, it's been like 3 weeks, and you come back and like pumping out music, ideas just free flowing,
So
and
we
be
have,
easy on yourself along the way.
you said be easy on yourself.
Yeah, that's huge. I feel like I was the worst with that because I'm so competitive, man. Like I'll beat myself up till I get it right.
Yeah.
No need.
It's so funny though because you're so composed.
Oh,
So like I
inside,
feel like it's
man.
all internal.
I feel like I should blame Kobe for that. No, but
Maybe.
he's such like a dog. I feel like I got that in me now, which is also good. I feel like under pressure it makes me stronger.
The pressure is sometimes it's a good thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. hmm I like being in that space too. I feel more locked in.
Yeah. It forces you, I feel like it forces you to figure it out.
And now that I have like a team, I, f- I think like I'll let them handle it like along the way, and then I'll be more present when it gets like when maybe someone's not feeling the best this day, or like when things aren't fully there. I feel more like ready to go in those moments, whereas we're all like going hard at the same time.
So we got some former culture study guests who have some questions for you.
No way. Oh man.
One of them is from the one and only Jordan Nicholson.
Oh man. I was just with him I think less than a month ago.
No way.
Yeah, I
The
was in
mayor of
Seattle.
Seattle.
The mayor brought me around.
I love him, man.
Yeah. Oh man, I've known him before Soulection too. Oh yeah, he's like OG sneaker collector,
Incredibly creative.
incredibly creative, probably one of the most generous people I've ever met. Yeah, man. I love that guy.
Met him in 2013 in my first, it was like a spring break.
hmm
And the guys and I went to Seattle. And
You had to
he
meet
was,
the mayor.
yeah, we heard about him, but then also he was just skateboarding by us as we like
Oh,
stepped
really?
into Seattle. And I was like, Jordan? And he was just, it was his first day at Ebbets Field. He was working at
I remember
the
that.
hat
I remember that. Yeah, he actually
company.
gave me a jersey. Like he made me a baseball jersey.
Yeah,
Super. I still have it. It's like ESTA with all different type of fonts.
so cool.
Yeah, man, I love that guy.
Yeah. So his question is, Esta, what is one of your favorite things about yourself? And there's a follow up.
Okay. This is one thing I recently noticed. I feel like I attract good people because I'm not like the most I'm not gonna be the one to initiate a conversation or anything, but all my life,
Yeah, I know that.
all my life, people gravitate towards me, and I notice that they're like really good people, and a lot of them are still in my life. Majority. I don't really cut people off because like no need to. They're just a lot of good people. Like in high school, even I I was mute in high school, bro. I didn't talk to nobody. But like my best friends, they all like came up to me, and yeah, I don't know how or why, but I'm grateful shoot because I'm
Yeah.
not talkative like that.
You surround yourself with people, or they surround themselves. Maybe it's an energy exchange.
Maybe, but
Just good
I don't
people
know
around
how.
you.
Yeah.
Follow up to Jordan's first question is,
Mm.
what's one way that you've been growing that you're proud of?
I guess letting go a lot more, picking and choosing my battles.
In what
Um,
capacity?
and that competitiveness, like I don't gotta prove myself to nobody. And also being like a softer human towards myself. I feel like that's a huge part for me because I never talked good to myself, like hyped myself up. I'm more generous with myself now. I'm still not the nicest, but I give myself time and I'm able to like sit with myself and not like, just talk bad to myself like I used
Yeah.
to.
Where did you feel like the negative self-talk came from? Because you talk a lot about, or you just kind of like hearing your story.
I think,
You're quiet, like you're quiet
yeah,
in many parts of your life.
man, I feel like maybe it could be upbringing. I think in a lot of like Asian cultures, there's not much like, uh, what's the word?
Like reassurance or something.
Reassurance, affection, also, They're like quick to tell you when you do something wrong versus when you actually do something good. So I feel like that got me in my head a lot. That's no like bash on my parents. I feel like they raised me perfectly because no matter how well I do, I still feel like there's no way I could be cocky.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think that has a huge effect on like how I think and carry myself.
Another question from another former guest, and I also think a former roommate of yours, Jeff.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Jeff
saw him
Burnett.
the other day too.
You saw him?
Yeah, Clink.
He had a more technical question. Do you still remember how to use an MPC?
Damn. I haven't touched one in years, but I feel like I could figure it out. I actually want to I have Jared Jackson has mine.
Can you also explain what an MPC is? Because I am
It's
lost.
a sampler.
Okay.
It's like one of the OG samplers that a lot of hip hop guys use, like Kanye, Dilla, all my influences. So yeah, I had two of them in the past, and that was like my bread and butter. Now I think it's like a lot of like technical like or more difficult things I had to do on that. I could do in the computer in seconds now, which is
Mm,
crazy. But it did teach me how to do a lot of things like swing and chopping samples, train my ear to hear chops before they even get uploaded onto something. I think I could figure out how to use it though. It's been a few years, but I spent so much time on that thing. I feel like I could
yeah.
probably make a beat.
Riding a bike.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things.
Shout out to Jeff for the question. Shout out to
Yeah.
Jordan for the question. Yeah, let's pivot into a little bit of a reflection. Well, I feel like this whole thing has been a reflection,
Yeah, for sure,
but
for sure.
how do you find joy these days?
It's hard to be sad when I have my dog around. That
Cosmo.
Cosmo be smiling at me all the time. Other than that, cooking, eating a good meal, coffee alone brings me joy.
Coffee alone.
Coffee alone, man.
Nobody else.
I mean, no, like just like that alone, like
Oh,
coffee
coffee itself.
alone,
Okay, okay.
yeah,
I
could
thought you
turn my
meant
day
by
around.
yourself.
I mean, yeah, that's cool too. That's cool too. Uh, and then now car stuff. Um,
Simple things.
Simple things, man. Like when I was younger and DJing often, I would like make a good amount of money to just buy stuff I always wanted. After just a few years, I'm like, I bought all this stuff to know that I didn't need any of it. Like I would like look up to these things and be like, damn, I hope to get these things someday. Means nothing. Half the clothes I was collecting, I don't even have anymore. But it did help me know that like where these designers got the inspiration from and why
Right.
they do certain things. So I guess it wasn't a complete waste. So I just know how to get the cheaper versions of the, whatever they drew inspiration from.
Yeah. What would you say is your superpower?
I would say the attraction. I've attracted good people in my life. I only work with my friends. My whole team is my friends. And if they weren't before, they're great friends now. Like Mack's manager, I didn't know him before. Now, like, saw him the other day. Just I could talk with like deep with Danny. I'm very selective with who I talk to, man.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of it is like being a little bit reserved itself. It's ironic because you're usually on a physical stage, have been on a physical stage, like DJing, or your music is, getting released out into the world to like, hundreds of thousands, millions of listeners and viewers. And I think that gets to a lot of artists' heads at times. Whenever I see you, you're not looking for attention. You don't want any attention.
Oh
Like you
man,
actually
I run
prefer
from
no
it.
attention. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think um, you also have like a very peaceful and positive, just like aura and energy. And so maybe that's part of what brings
Shoot, I
good
hope
people
so.
around you.
I hope so. I'm also like if I allow you in my space, I could be a dork, man. Like I like cracking jokes and stuff, but
Yeah.
or like roasting people. Like I don't
No,
know.
but that's a great quality to have. It's a great superpower.
I hope that's what it is. I don't know. I'm still trying to like figure out why. Maybe there's nothing to figure out. I'm
Yeah.
just blessed in that way.
What role has failure played in your journey?
Oh man.
And maybe how have you learned from mistakes and failures?
Sometimes I'll jump into something um without doing any like research or looking into it and just dive in and just to like speed up the process because I'll fail, but I'll learn like what I did wrong instantly. So I think that's my approach now. Because I would like, I'm a super anxious person, but and I'll like overthink the whole scenario. Like even coming to do a podcast, I'll be like, damn, what could go wrong? Like just everything that could go wrong, like just dive in. Something happens, I learned from it. Next time it won't happen.
Yeah. So you kind of look forward to failure. Maybe not look forward, but like you
It's
are open to
something,
it.
yeah, I'm open to it. I think you have to be. It's gonna happen at some point. I think being cool with failure is probably the best thing you can do.
It's funny because even just like in planning this with you, typically I'll have like a agenda,
Yeah,
send
yeah.
over an outline. I was like, "Yo, Francis, you want?" Nope.
Yeah, yeah, nah.
Look,
Cause
well, I'm
that'll
just
just
gonna let
make
it
me
flow.
yeah, that'll
Yeah.
make me overthink and I don't like being in that space. I'll like talk myself out of it. You might have heard like an excuse or something if I overthought it.
Yeah. What's something you've always wanted to do but have been too afraid to try?
Um, I do want to get in the fashion space eventually. I haven't tried it because at first I have a lot of homies that are in it and I respect that craft so much. I just like I didn't want to disrespect them. But I'm also now like now's not a good time. I'm like trying to focus on the album. Why would I focus on a whole nother art? So I think like when the time comes, I think it'll be just right because like I'll get an inspiration throughout the album process, life, like it'll happen when the time's right. I believe it. But yeah, I would like to explore that world a little more.
What are moments of self-doubt like for you? How do you kind of work through them?
Self doubt used to go like months, man, like months at a time. I did go to like therapy for a little bit, and that helped a lot. Mm.
What did you pull? Like, what did you take away from therapy?
It's really like going to therapy. It's stuff we all know. You just hear it from another person. Like, oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's almost a self-doubt. It's like
Yeah,
you need to hear it
you're
from
like,
somebody
damn, you're
else.
right, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really just like navigating through it. I think is yeah, just being kinder to yourself. Like getting a little older, like we know all the answers for whatever we're going through. But half of the battle is just like allowing ourselves to be okay with it or taking the risk to solve it and live through it because you don't gotta like solve it in that very moment. Yeah, it's gonna pass. Just gotta be okay with taking the time. I think at least that's my toughest battle.
Yeah. Closing out a little bit. Have you thought about kind of your legacy and essentially how you want to be remembered?
I try not to, but you can't. Like with the passing of Kobe, I was like, damn. It was pretty flawless for the most part. It didn't. It almost like how's your last game like a 60-point game, and like his transition out of the NBA was so smooth. He left it all on the floor. No regrets. So with that, I was like, damn. I started thinking about it a little more, and yeah, I hope to leave the same way. But I'm also like, I live a pretty cool life. If it happens tomorrow, knock on wood, I'm cool. I got good people around me. I feel like just traveling to do music and put out music freely, that's ultimately the dream. So I feel like I'm good right now.
You're
I
doing
don't
that.
want to, leave this place, but I'm happy with what I've accomplished and left behind thus far. It's not the best work I think I could do, but it's out there for people to enjoy.
All right, a couple quick rapid fire questions as we close out here.
All right.
Coolest career moment so far?
Dang, it's probably uh, going to the Philippines to play music. I never been to the homeland. And to go for music was like, damn, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool moment for me. I also got to play beats for Kendrick early on.
No way.
Yeah, he didn't pick none, but because yeah, it was so early on, but it was just cool to be like, I played beats for Kendrick.
Can you tell me about that experience? That's
It
amazing.
was after a Sound of Tomorrow, selection event back in the day at the Echoplex, back when we used to do it over there. Tunji was like, "What are you doing right now?" I was still living in San Diego, so I was like, I'm just gonna go home." I was like, "You want to play beats for Kendrick all the way in Santa Monica at like 3 in the morning?" It's like, I'm not gonna say no. So I went over there. He took like 3 beats, but nothing came out of it.
What was it like working or just like sharing music with someone like,
I mean, at the time he
Kendrick's
wasn't
level?
like as crazy as he is now, but I still admired his work. So, and I was also very like timid playing beats at the time. So I was like quiet, man, just press and play. It's cool dude, cool dude.
Yeah.
Really like human. Just chilling on the chair, no shoes on, like feet weren't touching the ground. That's all I remember from that. But yeah, it was cool, man.
If you were in that room again
Oh
now,
yeah, I'm definitely getting something on that. He's picking something for sure.
would
I
you?
feel like where he's at musically now is totally more aligned with where I am today too. So I think it would work out.
I also thought you were gonna mention studio time with Ginuwine.
Oh yeah, that was cool. That was cool. I call him my uncle now because I have two managers, Jasmine and Monty. Monty's related to Genuine,
Oh wow.
so like whenever he's hung out with us, we'll like just go eat like tender greens or something random. Really cool guy.
Yeah,
I wish, man, I'll see if I could get him on the album.
that'd
Just like
be
a hook or
that'd be
something.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Monty.
I feel like he's also aligned with the sound wise.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, he
for
was he was
sure.
ahead of his time.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure. Yeah, he cut something to one of my beats back in the day. I wish I could hear it. But we'll see. I'll ask. I'll ask. Hopefully I could get blessed by the OG.
by Unc,
By Unc.
Big Unc. That's crazy because now I call him Uncle too, just
Yeah.
by association.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
just playing. What are you listening to these days?
Right now I'm still in my little ambient bag. I love ambient music. Right now it's like Brazilian jazz. I like
Hmm. Like bossa nova type or
some bossa nova. There's a lot of stuff that just sounds so soulful, like 70s soul. I like disco, funk stuff right now. I really like that group that Anderson signed. Crazy pianist and drummer. I forgot their names, but they're nasty. Like crazy musically, like stuff I don't even know how to explain
yeah.
because I'm not like I don't know music theory like that, but it sounds crazy. Oh, and McGee. He's probably one of my more bigger inspirations right now.
Very cool. McGee.
MK.GEE. He's sick, man.
What's the sound?
It's like it sounds like old rock stuff, really. Do you know Dijon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was like uh producing a lot on his
Oh,
last
okay,
album.
cool.
Yeah, so that sound is like McGee.
I just want to ask, I had one more question, but I realized that you feel like you don't really play instruments. Like, you can't call yourself maybe
Yeah,
a
yeah.
pro at them.
Not at all.
You can't read music.
No.
I guess I'm curious about what your strength is when you think about yourself as an artist.
I feel like I hear certain things a certain way. I'm big on like feeling and texture, and now I'm comfortable with collaborating. Like I feel like before I was like I have to do it all myself, but now I'm able to like utilize the people around me to make these ideas happen and put my textures and whatever my touch is on it.
Yeah.
I think that's where I shine, and then I love doing drums a lot. So.
I feel like you might not give yourself enough credit for the instruments and for the
Because I'm
other
surrounded
things.
by so many crazy musicians. I never like to disrespect someone's craft. Like, there's people that have, like my good friend Jay Bird, crazy pianist, one of the nastiest people I know musically. Like, he can hear a song, and just know how to play it, type of thing, and figure out different ways to play the same thing. And I don't know, just like crazy musical stuff. So I can't be like, yeah, I know how to play piano.
Yeah, but you know enough.
I just trust my ear for the most part. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but if it sounds right and feels right, I'm running with it.
Last question is, what's your favorite piece of advice? It might be tattooed on your shin now that I think about
Nah,
it.
nah, nah, nah. Right now, a big thing for me is simplify, man. We know the answers to a lot of the issues or things we got to go through, and just like there's a lot of unnecessary things in our life. Just simplify it. Yeah, we know the destination, our goals, and how to get there, but a lot of distractions get in the way of it. So just simplifying is big for me right now.
Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, or any topics that have been on your mind, or you feel pretty?
I feel like you asked a lot of the right questions as far as like the superpower thing. That's been on my mind a lot lately because like I don't know how all these people um, entered my life and remain in my life. I'm glad.
So, well, Francis, Esta, thank you so much for
Thank you, man.
being here. So excited for your journey, man. I'm excited for this album to come out. First one after all
First
these
one,
years. It's kind of
yeah.
wild. I can only imagine how good it's going to be, and excited to help contribute to it as both a rapper, executive producer, and anything else that you need from me. So
No, thank you, man. Thanks for
that was a joke.
no, no. You just got my mind racing. Like, damn, I got a whole album to work on now.
I just made you anxious.
A little bit. No, no, I'm
Defeated the
good. I'm
purpose.
good. No, thanks for having me. I feel like I do podcasts like once every 5 years or something like that. So it'll be nice to bookmark this and see
Yeah,
it.
a little timestamp.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And yeah, I appreciate this. Hopefully, we can run it back again when the
Yeah,
time is right.
yeah. Maybe after the album, see how I'm doing. Probably have eye bags and everything.
Yeah, thank you, bro.